Hello, everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer, and welcome to Lost in the Wasteland, my weekly interview show where I get to learn about somebody else's perspective on movies. And this is a long delayed second coming onto the show from my friend Anthony Collesano. Anthony, thank you so much for coming back on after probably like almost 2.5 years.
Yeah. No, it's always a pleasure. I'm glad I reached out to you on LinkedIn and congratulate you because I'm sure that kind of strummed up the courage to ask me. But yeah, happy to do this and yeah, love talking movies and stuff with you. So
It was funny because I tried to get as many like new first time guests this past year.
mhm.
And this is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is my 178th episode of the show,
Oh
which is
wow.
insane.
That is crazy. That is insane.
Closing in on 200 episodes. We'll reach that's about halfway through this year.
Yeah.
And I was going through back to the beginning, and I'm like, noticed some people like, I haven't had them on in 2.5 years. So that's where this started. And Anthony is back to talk some more movies. But let's get things started. So, Anthony, what's a previously released film that you haven't seen that you're most excited to check out?
Previously released film. So there's two and they
Mhm.
both star Brad Pitt.
Okay.
Fight Club
Mhm.
and Meet Joe Black.
Okay.
So
That's
I think I think because Fight Club everyone talks about like the ending's insane
mhm.
and I'm just like okay and I was about to watch it and then I think I looked at the time I'm like I'm gonna fall asleep. I'm like
Fair.
I'm gonna fall asleep so I was like I had to like start it early to watch it and then Meet Joe Black. I mean I'm into the romance stuff and
Mhm.
I know there's like that element in it. So I'm like, all right, I want to kind of see it. So those are the two. And of course it was him. But both of course
Mhm.
Brad Pitt's in both of them. So yeah, those two I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, because that's both like 98, 99 Brad Pitt right there.
Yeah.
Uh, Brad Pitt at the height of his popularity there. And
Hmm.
like Fight Club's one of those movies that most film fans are going to watch at some point.
Yeah.
And obviously Fight Club's very popular. For a lot of people it's their favorite David Fincher film.
Hmm.
It's not mine, but it's hard to argue the work and the writing and the performances that went into that film. And actually haven't seen Meet Joe Black, so that's something that
Oh,
I also have to get around to
okay.
checking out. I've seen a lot more of like Brad Pitt's like weird and quirky kind of roles, like 12
Like
Monkeys and stuff like that. Which that's the
mm,
thing, Brad Pitt's not just like handsome leading man; he could also be like weird.
12
And
Monkeys. When the heck did that come out?
1995, if I'm not
Uh,
mistaken.
so right around so when Seven dropped.
Yeah, right
Yeah.
around there, because he got nominated for Best Supporting Actor for 12 Monkeys.
Mm,
It is a very strange, surreal time travel movie
okay.
from Terry Gilliam, who just makes strange, surreal movies in general. So there you go.
Ah, there you go. Yep.
Now, this is actually interesting because it's nice and fresh 2024. Looking into the
Mm.
future, what's an upcoming film that you're most looking forward to check out?
So I had to look because I didn't know what was upcoming in
Fair.
2024. And the problem is that the strike really
Messed up
changed
a
and
lot of.
messed up a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay. And I think the one I'm most excited for, I mean, it's kind of generic. It's probably going to be Deadpool 3.
Mhm.
I think because of the fact that Hugh Jackman is in it. And I think that, the MCU has kind of had it hasn't been great since Endgame.
It's definitely had a bit of shaky ground since having to recalibrate after something so big.
Yeah.
And like, how do you one up it? And then they're like, with so many things, and they've
Yes.
tried so many things, and it's very interesting. This is the only film we're getting this year,
Yeah.
so for
Yeah.
2024. And yes, I am also very excited to see Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine.
I mean, what do you think about, yeah, because Kevin Feige said, or I think no, it was Bob Iger. It's like, we can't because they keep losing money. They're losing
Yeah,
a lot of money. So I'm just
because
like, it's a lot of
Guardians made money,
yeah,
and then Quantum Mania and the Marvels did not.
did not.
And I think they're going to be a little choosy on the what they're going to invest hundreds of millions of dollars in. I think they feel pretty confident with Deadpool, seeing as both Deadpool movies were very successful R-rated action movies.
Hmm.
And you're also injecting in the X-Men, which is probably going to get a lot of people's attention too.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be probably the most important movie that they have coming out soon
Hmm.
because it's really going to reshape this whole multiverse
Yep.
saga going on. And it's going to have to bridge everything to get us into 2025 when we get the next Captain America movie and the Thunderbolts and
Hmm.
whatever else we're going to
They're
get
gonna
before whatever the next Avengers movie is now with the whole Jonathan Majors situation. Things are very
right.
tumultuous right now for Marvel, and I think it's probably a good thing that they have this one movie.
Hmm.
They have like five shows coming out this year on Disney Plus,
Right.
to varying degrees, but at least they have this one film to
Hmm.
get people excited about. And
Hmm.
it's Deadpool, and it's Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. So I think that's probably like the best one for them to have flying solo this year. So
Right. Yeah. I think, and they could just solely focus on that and not worry about, oh, we got to worry about this and we got to worry about that. It's just, okay, just all your chips are to this. And I think I think it'll do well. Like, I think it's going
yeah,
to do, will it do juggernaut box office numbers like Endgame or like Iron Man or all that stuff? Maybe. I don't know
it
because it's
be
R-rated.
it being R-rated, I don't think it could possibly get up that high
Yeah.
unless parents are just like, screw that, it's
Yeah.
Deadpool, go have fun, kids.
Yeah.
But like, you know, Oppenheimer just showed $950 million for a 3 hour R-rated biopic because Christopher Nolan. So,
Mm-hmm.
and Joker made $1 billion.
Yeah.
So, and you know, I'm excited for it. I think it doesn't come out until like it's either June or July. So we have a little time
Hmm.
to wait for it and build up more anticipation. Because
Exactly.
besides all of those leaked photos that have come out, there isn't anything official that they've released about Deadpool 3 yet, except for
Hmm.
that fun little video of Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman announcing that was going to be a thing.
Yeah, and then them just like hanging out and walking together and just being bros. Like you
This
haven't
is going
seen.
to be the best media campaign for a Marvel
Oh,
movie because it's just going to be the two of them being frenemies the
yeah,
whole entire way leading up to this movie.
yeah,
And it's going to be fun. Now, I know one of the hot button issues of film today is people complaining about how they just remake everything. But
yeah.
some movies deserve a remake. Anthony, what's a film that you actually think deserves a remake?
Ooh, a remake. I mean, I'm really trying to think about this. What movie deserves? Because it's interesting you say that because I'm just like, because my mom's just saying, they're making another Mean Girls. I'm like, yeah, but it's a musical. She's like, oh, I'm like, what are you gonna do? Tina Fey's in it, Tim Mills is in
20
it.
years later.
Yeah, I'm just like, it's different. You get new faces, maybe a new breakout star comes out. I think, oh man, I don't know. That's an because there's been so many.
There's been
That
a lot.
there's been a
Like
lot.
a lot. Basically, Disney's just pushing all their chips in on just remaking all of their animated movies. So
Yeah. I mean, what about you? I mean, maybe I can get my juices flowing. Like, is there one
I
that
feel
you would
like
like?
I feel like the thing is you have to find something that didn't work, but had a cool idea. Like cool idea, but the movie didn't work. And that's what you work on. Or if
Hmm.
there's room for new technology to update something. So
Hmm.
like I know it technically wasn't a remake, but something like Tron Legacy made a lot of sense because
Yeah.
Tron was so effects heavy. And let's be real here, the effects were kind of silly in the 80s when you watched the original Tron. But like, my God, it looked amazing when they made that sequel all those years later.
Yeah.
So like stuff like that, like I I love the new Jungle Book because the original Jungle Book is like 75 minutes of aimless running around in a jungle with
Hmm.
a couple of memorable songs. You
Right.
remake those things and make them better. You don't
Yeah.
go and get your like most iconic movies and hope that you don't make them into an abomination. Like
Yeah.
case in point, The Lion King,
Okay.
despite
Oh,
still making $1.7 billion dollars.
yeah.
So
I didn't see that because I was like, but like you thought it was it. Do you think it ruined?
well, here's the thing. And another important thing to remember, people, remakes can't ruin the original. You still have the original. Just
That
enjoy
is
the original.
that is
Just choose
true.
not to watch the remake.
That is
So
true.
it was a bad movie. And it felt like a cheap ripoff, and like none of the animals had any expression because like these are gonna be photorealistic. So just like no expression
Yeah, and then
animals.
it's just their mouth moving like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
barely.
Right.
But, it's one of those kinds of things. Like, if you can find something that, this had a cool concept, but then they wasted on a bad story, and you can go back and redo it. Or you could take something and put in a fresh perspective. Like, I love The Departed. The Departed's a remake of a Hong Kong cop film.
Really?
Taking that story out of Hong Kong and putting it into Boston
Mm,
makes it a completely different feel. And if you could do stuff like that, that kind of stuff works and is interesting. So, but they don't choose to do that. They just remake anything and everything. Like the Mean Girls thing, Tina Fey adapted it into a Broadway musical
yeah.
and now is bringing it back
Bringing it
to
back to
a movie,
yeah.
just the musical version of it. And
Hmm.
they've done that before. Like I love the producers, love Mel Brooks. He adapted his own comedy into a musical for Broadway, and then they made the Broadway show into a movie too.
Hmm.
So like those kinds of things
Hmm.
work. But in general, and probably the reason why you're struggling so much to find something to remake is we get so many of them and we don't need any.
Yeah, yeah, and I think because I think back, I want to say maybe like in the early 2010s, everyone was like, "Oh, like I wish this came back, or I wish this came back," and then I think probably executives were like, "Okay," and then they started doing it, and then they're like, "Oh, it's kind of working," and then they keep doing it, and then they're and now it's like, "All right, like where like for me, I'm like, can we get something like new and like fresh and like exciting?" And some stuff we have. But I just think we need more of that because I'm just like I'm seeing the same thing I saw when I was like a kid and teenager. I'm like, I want to see
Yeah,
something original.
the fact that we're getting a Moana remake already, Moana came out in 2016, like
Yeah. Well,
more
I
than
think
10 years ago.
well, I think because right, because remember The Rock and oh God, The Rock's like Black Adam's gonna be the like he's gonna change DC and it bombed.
Yep,
And now he's back and fast, which I'm like, great.
yep.
That movie was oh God. I'm gonna
Remaking Moana,
remaking Moana
and he
and
might have a WrestleMania match this year. So
yeah,
he,
with Roman Reigns.
and
Yeah.
he's like, we need to make money again.
Yeah.
So,
It's like doesn't have
so
enough already, but
he,
yeah.
yeah, he's pushing the panic button,
Hmm.
a little bit it seems.
Yeah.
But sometimes you do get a great remake, but most of them we didn't need them.
Yeah.
But Anthony, what's your fondest memory of going to the movies?
So I had to think about this. I'm like, oh, what was it? But I do remember because this happened after, maybe a couple months after we did your show,
Uh,
December 2021. You might know where I'm going with this. Spider-Man No Way Home. So that I remember the trailer dropped, and I'm like to my friend, call him, I shouldn't say this. His name's Chris. We
mhm.
call him Wreck It. That was
Yeah,
his. You call it. He looked like Wreck-It Ralph when he was a kid, and so it's kind of just stuck.
nice.
So like we can't. So like if we call him Chris, it's like ew. Like we always call him Wreck. But in certain scenarios, like we'll call him by his first name, and then and he's like we have to go. Like we're like we have to go
Mhm.
see the movie. So I buy the tickets. I think when they dropped at night, I think at midnight or maybe like 2 in the morning, I got the tickets. So I didn't look at anything or whatever. So we go. It's packed, it's sold out, it's packed and watch it. It's really, it was I thought it was a great movie, the whole lead up, and then, you get to the scene where it's like Garfield and do the
Mhm.
thing, find Peter Parker, and I'm like, it's him, it's happening. and
The
then they
amount of shrieks that I heard from teenage girls when Andrew Garfield showed up in that movie in that theater, it was deafening.
yeah, yeah,
That was that was my first packed theater since COVID.
yeah.
Because like even when I went to go see Shang-Chi and
Hmm.
Eternals, they weren't
Hmm.
full.
Yeah,
Like Shang-Chi, I was in like a 500 seat theater, and like there's like sprinklings of people. It was probably like early showing on a Saturday. I
yeah.
did go opening night to Eternals, and it was like half filled. That Spider-Man screening, like it was packed to the gills.
Yeah, it was.
It was special. That was an experience
Hmm.
that I think hit a lot of people your age, my age, in a
It's,
very specific place.
hmm.
Whether it was you're a Garfield fan or you're a Tobey Maguire fan growing up watching those Spider-Man movies,
Hmm.
that was just a special moment. And boy, does Marvel wish that they can make that kind of money right now,
Yeah,
or Disney in general.
yeah,
So
or just make that kind of buzz because it was crazy,
it was crazy.
and I think the way that I think it was genius how, and props to them for not having it get leaked. You know, there weren't any photos of Andrew and Toby on set. No one able to get that. And Andrew was very keen of like, am I? Like, I don't know, or whatever. And then it
Mhm.
finds out he lied. He lied to Emma Stone. She's like, are
Yeah.
you in it? It's like,
There was
no.
two instances. One of the YouTube people that I follow got his hands on these pictures and released them because he thought they were fake. They weren't. They were
What,
actual pictures from the movie.
what were the pictures?
It was the three of them.
Oh no.
So there's that. And then that one international trailer where they didn't
Oh,
cut and you saw the lizard getting kicked in the face by nothing, which that was the moment. That I think that was the moment where a lot of people realized something else was going wrong, going on here. I know a lot of people are like, "Well, maybe he's you don't see Doc Ock in that shot. Maybe it's Doc Ock teaming up
yeah,
with him,
yeah.
or Venom
Hmm.
because Venom was in it,
For like what?
kind of,
Yeah, for like what, a hot minute, right?
kind of. But it wound up being them, and that was that's a crazy moment. Their Endgame, Infinity War, Spider-Man, No Way Home. There are going to be very few moments that could replicate that, and
Right.
I'm sure they're going to go all out for Secret Wars and really try to
Yeah.
hit that buzz.
I,
Have to get there first.
yeah, and I think it's hard when you realize that you've done it once and it's going to be hard to do it again because I think for everybody, not just like like all of us, my mom, you, me, and millions of others, it's like that was the first time that we grew up with them. So it's like you
Mhm.
have to reintroduce whole new characters and you have this notion where you're like, I mean, like, yeah, it's not, yeah, but like it's not the same, you know?
Took 11 years building up to that point. So like
Yeah.
you have to earn it, and they did the first time.
Yeah.
Now there's tricky times techno around.
Hmm.
But Anthony, what's a film that really exceeded your expectations?
Mm. That I went into not
Could have been like you didn't think it was going to be good, you had no expectations, and you left it just like, wow, I really love that movie.
hmm I'm gonna go. Oh God, I gotta really um you know what? Oh, what was it called? Oh my God, it was a don't laugh. It was a Nicholas Sparks movie, but what was it called? It wasn't The Notebook. It was
The Lucky One.
no, not that one. I think James best of me. Was it James Mazarin? What was that one? Came out in 20.
I am not up on my Nicholas Sparks one. The only reason I know the Lucky One is because I saw that opening night
You did.
with some of my female friends in college.
Oh God. Yeah, because I came out in 2010. That's when Zac Efron was still
Yeah,
kind of
I went to see that with them, and then some of our other friends went to go see 21 Jump Street, and I know I made the wrong choice that night.
Yeah, you did.
So,
You did.
which 21 Jump Street was a movie which I'm like, this looks so stupid. I don't want to go see that. And boy, was I wrong. So
Yeah.
that's definitely a movie that exceeded my expectations because I thought that was going to be stupid as hell.
Yeah, but it worked. It worked. Like the student was okay. That's like no, but it was the best of me, and I liked it. And I was like, all right, it's a Nicholas Sparks movie. I'm like, I've seen The Notebook. That holds. That's very high in my
Mhm.
movie tier. And I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And I liked how it was this kind of just the back and forth of you see them back then and you see them now, and they did a really good job of it. And I was like, and I have you seen it?
I haven't.
I don't want to spoil it. Do you care? The I
I don't. And spoiler alert.
yeah, spoiler alert if you haven't if you yeah, spoiler alert. But like when I guess yeah, so like the ending, I'm like, oh, they're gonna he's like they rekindle, they're gonna get back together, and he's going to see her, and then his dad was a asshole, and was just wanted was didn't like him for whatever reason and like wanted to kill him. It was very odd, and
Intense.
yeah, and so his father and his brother or whoever, this gang, they killed him. And I'm like, no, I was so mad. I was angry watching it at the end. I'm like, dang it, why can't I get my happy ending? Oh man. Like, it wasn't like the Notebook where like they end and they die together. It's like, why couldn't I get that? But no.
At least that's like romantic kind of dying.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, damn, that's unexpected.
Yeah. But I enjoy it because it's tough when you have movies that go back and forth. And it's like, can you hold it together? Can you make it make sense? And that movie, they were able to do that.
Yeah, and that is a tough balance of trying to jump between timelines in terms of storytelling. And a lot of films try to do it, and not a ton of them like really excel at it.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know how much you are a reader, Anthony, but what's something that's a written work that you would be interested to see turn into a film?
See, it's funny because I just started reading and
Okay.
I'm reading um I read three books because I started late. I read and so the summer I turned pretty came out, and my coworkers are like, "You have to watch it. It's so good." And then my one girlfriend, like, not I'm not I'm single, but like I had to.
Yeah.
She's like, "You have to." She's like, "Oh, you really like this?" And I'm like, I don't know. And then I'm like, all right, I'll watch it, and I got hooked. And
Nice.
it was based off the book.
Mhm.
So I know they're working on the third season now, which is gonna be the final one, but there's three books. So I read the first book. I'm currently reading the second one. I read the Jack Curry, who's our insider for the Yankees for the Yes Network. He wrote a book on the '98 Yankees, the greatest team, one of the greatest teams ever. I read that, and then
Mhm.
I read Britney's memoir. So I think, and I know there were rumors swirling around, and I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon because she's kind of a lot of legal stuff's going on. She's
Yeah.
not really ready to get back into the entertainment industry, but like if they could get that biopic right, I think it could be great because
Well,
there's a lot of layers to her life. And that book was
complicated.
really, it's complicated and it's real. Like that book was really good because you were like, it's like she's talking to you.
Mhm.
It was very raw, and you learn stuff about her life as a child. And then when she brought up her relationship with Justin, which had a lot of like, we didn't know what happened.
Mhm.
You, K-Fed, who oh, I hate that man. Oh God, I hate him so much. And
Mhm.
just, and you feel bad for what she went through in the conservatorship. And you're like, if they can get it right, if they can get that movie right and get her blessing and have her there as a producer and really kind of get her creative mind into that, because I think she's really gifted in that. And I think people don't realize that about Britney. I think it'd be a great film.
That would be very interesting. I know we're getting a Amy Winehouse film this year, and Hollywood loves a music biopic.
Yeah.
So that like 100% is gonna happen at some point in the future. So
Yeah.
that's definitely a good pick. It would be an interesting thing, and especially if it's adapted from that book and having like her perspective specifically be an
Hmm.
interesting way to go through quite a journey that she
Yeah.
has certainly been on.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I would look forward to it. It's just a matter of the fact that people have done stuff in the past, done like, documentaries. There was that Lifetime crappy biopic that came out way back in the day, and it was like
We do
terrible.
not trust anything that Lifetime
Type.
puts out.
Yeah, I know. Oh God, that was terrible. But it's like it's just can they get her? I think gets her blessing. I
Yeah.
think you're gonna have something great.
Now, I know one thing that's a hot button issue with a lot of movie fans are trailers. Do they give away too much? Do they lie to us? Yes, all both those things and a lot. But what's your favorite movie trailer?
Ooh, I have a lot because I like watching movie trailers. Like I
Mm,
think it gets you hyped up. What was it? Like I would watch. Like I think the one that really got me hyped up was Fast Seven. I think Paul Walker dying, realized
yep.
like this was it, and like the way like I was like really hyped for that. The first trailer when they did the plane drop, I'm like, what the heck is
Yeah.
going on? So that one was cool. Obviously, in Infinity War, the first one that dropped, that was insane.
Oh, I remember that.
I remember that. That
Puts
was
a
no
smile on my face.
face.
And just with the Infinity Gauntlet, like, which also lied because that point in the movie had a lot more stones than he did
It
in the
did it in the
trailer.
trailer. Yeah, exactly.
Which and that's those are moments where I'm okay with the trailer lying to me.
Yeah.
Like it's little things like that. But no, that was that trailer hit hard.
Yeah, I remember it came out.
There's so
We
much hype.
and we were in. We were. I think it came out when I was a. Yeah, I remember I was a freshman, and I think it came out. I was at Daly's Dining Hall, and it dropped. I think it
Mhm.
dropped then. So that was crazy. What else have I seen? Oh God, you're gonna laugh. So like the Spy Kids 2 trailer, I'll watch that. That's just funny because it's funny because I don't know if you know this, but like Robert Rodriguez like made the first one just so he can make the second one. Like that, like
Well,
he's and the
the
second
second
one,
one is wild. Like it certainly like takes it to a whole other level.
yeah, and I think it's the best one. It's that weird thing where it's like the second one in my opinion, it beats the first one. And
And
then
then you have the third one, which speaking of special
special
effects,
effects. Yeah, that was great. But at least I mean, Sylvester Stallone's in it, so I don't know how he got him in it.
guys, I'm the toy maker.
Sure. Yeah,
And there's
yeah.
like four versions of him, and there's like, I'm a
Yeah.
scientist, Sylvester Stallone, and
Uh,
he's like,
yeah.
and just like him talking to himself the
It's
whole time. Spy Kids are wild. Those
yeah,
movies are so wild,
they
and they should
were.
stop making them after the third one. But we'll
But
just
we got a fourth one and now they have a Netflix show.
oh my God. They've had five now because they had a fourth one with like Joel McHale in it.
Yeah, and Jessica Alba.
Just
Yeah.
came out with that fifth movie, and I watched it. I'm just like, oh, I don't know if it's nostalgia to the old ones or the fact that this doesn't have Antonio Banderas in it, or just upset.
Yeah, I'm like I'm not like it does yeah, or it just doesn't hit like it did back in the day.
No, it doesn't hit the same way anymore.
Yeah.
But oh, like trailers from that era though, it's like in a world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like having that like in a world
Well, yeah,
guy was
yeah,
that was a special thing for a
it
long
was
time.
it, it was.
There's definitely some fun trailers there.
What
Now,
about you?
oh, my favorite for forever is always going to be that first Fury Road trailer when they dropped that for Mad Max
Oh,
because if you couldn't tell from all my branding, I love Mad Max,
hmm.
Wasteland, everything. And that had been years in the making,
Right. Yeah.
years.
Hmm.
And when that trailer dropped, like that's definitely one, that first Force Awakens trailer, there's been an awakening. And
Hmm.
like at the end where it's like, Chewie, we're home. I'm just like
Yeah.
chills, goosebumps.
And then
And it's
you
just
hear him
like,
and it goes,
oh my
"Bang."
God. I and there's a lot of those big movies, but there's some trailers that are just so well edited. Like recently, when I went to go see Oppenheimer, they played both the Killers of the Flower Moon and Dune Part 2
Yeah,
trailers, and I
yeah.
was in that Lincoln Square IMAX
Oh, you got to
theater.
go. I wanted to go, but I looked too late. I'm like, dang it.
That stuff was sold out for weeks.
I know. I couldn't. Yeah, I was screwed. I was like, I'll just go. I still like they did a good job at mine.
Mhm.
But yeah, but yeah,
Like watching those trailers, like there's certain trailers that like I'm like, ugh, I will have to watch
watch.
this again.
Yeah.
And then there's other trailers where I'm like, ooh, I'm like excited. That Killers of the Flower Moon trailer with the like really big drumming and everything was
I downloaded the
so good.
music. Like I was like, what is
Right?
this music? I'm like, yep, going on my library.
Fantastic. And that's a nice segue. Because the next two questions that I have to do with music. But what's your favorite use of like a song in a movie?
Oh, that's a good one. Um, like, are we talking like a song that was released and then got okay, that song that
So
was released.
like like an actual song. It could be a song made for the movie. It could be a song just like a popular song that they used in a film,
Hmm.
but like an actual song. So not just like score.
Right, yeah, not okay. Because I definitely do have a score.
And we'll get there in a minute.
I know a song that was used. I'm trying to think. Ooh, I don't know. Oh man.
And that's the moment where you just like start scrolling through your brain to like Tarantino movies and Scorsese movies and
Yeah,
think
I'm
about
just
all those movies that or like any Guardians one where it has insane amount of random
Oh,
drops.
that was it. Okay. This is the most okay, just because you said that, I have a recent one. It was the opening scene from Volume 3, the creepy acoustic version. The moment I heard that and I was like, I'm gonna cry in this movie. I was
Oh,
like,
I speaking of songs from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3,
hey.
I can't listen to Florence and the Machine the same way again. And since the end of that movie, and I'm just like, oh man. And there were some great,
Yeah.
there's great music usage in all three of them. And but like that third one went hard, and it was
Yeah.
interesting mix of songs too.
Hmm.
You could say it was awesome. Um,
Yeah.
Terrible joke. But like obviously the first one's a lot of like one hit, like those 70s hits and like pop hits, because like it
Yeah.
was his mom's music. And then the
Hmm.
second one had a bit of mix of that. And I never would have thought that somebody could give so much depth to the song Brandy from Looking Glass to that. They made it part of the plot.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. And it worked. And it was because it was Kurt Russell, because it worked.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, but like, no, Volume 3 had some amazing uses of songs and Creep at the beginning. That whole scene just set a tone and set a
It,
mood.
yeah.
And it really worked for helping us, the audience, figure out where these characters are.
Yeah.
And boy, was Peter in a bad place.
Yeah. He was in it.
Bad place.
Yeah, he was. And I'm just like, I was like, I saw like Rocket as like when he was like a little and then just like the doom doom. I was like, oh no. I think I started tearing up during it. I'm like, oh, damn it.
Oh, I had a lot of feelings during Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Oh, James Gunn rode off into the sunset
Did.
just in an amazing way.
Did. Marvel lost a good one.
Oh man. Well, speaking of score, what's that score you were thinking of?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. You're gonna oh, you know what? Because you know what's funny? It's you're gonna laugh. So you know how at the end of every year, now do you have Apple or Spotify?
I have Spotify.
Okay, so you get your Spotify Wrapped,
Yep.
so you get your top 5 artists, your top 5 songs.
Hmm.
And so we get Apple Music is not as we get that, but it's not like cool. It's
Yeah.
kind of lame. It's like oh, it's just Spotify rap, and
It's
I'm just
not the
like,
cool kid one.
yeah, I'm sitting there, I'm like yeah, I don't get that because I didn't want to, lose all the money I spent when I was 12 on iTunes gift cards for iTunes, which is why I
Mhm.
kept Apple Music. But um it was Mission Impossible, Death Con Rogue One, because
Mhm.
one of the songs made it into my top five, I think. I think it was the scene where like it's the opening scene where like they're in the airport and like Ethan what was Haley's character's name in the movie?
Oh crap.
Oh my God, it was
I'm generally pretty bad with character names in movies, which is why I just
oh
refer
oh
to everybody by their act.
wait, wasn't it Grace? It was Grace.
Might have been. That
Yeah,
sounds right. We're
yeah,
gonna
it
go
was
with
yeah, oh
that.
yeah, because I think because he was chasing her and the song's title was Chasing Grace. And it's
Okay.
just so that
Yes.
that
Confirmed by IMDb. It is indeed Grace.
yeah, exactly. So that I was like I was like, oh wow, this song's actually pretty good. And then I listened to it and then I get myself kind of like in and then
Mhm.
I play like I'm like in my head a lot in terms of like I picture myself in like fantasy world, like in the
Mhm.
movies or like sporting events or whatever. So like I play that a lot and like I get myself like jazzed up. Um, so that score of the movie was great. And that movie, I mean, I feel bad that they Paramount was an idiot and Tom was an idiot for releasing it when they did. They should have,
They its budget ballooned so much because of COVID
yeah,
to the point of $275 million, which that's near impossible to make up that money. Like you have to be really, really like giant hit at the box office. And yes, that should not have come out anywhere near,
Barbieheimer.
yeah, like a specifically Oppenheimer taking up all the IMAX screens was not a good strategy.
Yeah.
Like they should not have come out a week before that. And they should have just called it Dead Reckoning. Because here's the thing, this movie had enough of a story in itself that you don't
Yeah.
need to make it a part.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
that never works.
Hmm.
Unless you're Harry Potter,
Hmm.
which was like the first time they did that, in a big way.
Yeah, Deathly House. Yeah, Deathly House Part One. Yeah.
Yeah, like they told you beforehand, this is broken into two parts. And we know why, because that book was ridiculously big and they weren't
Yeah.
going to make a 5 hour movie.
Movie. Yeah.
They should never have called this part one. And from what I understand, they might be shifting the title to just Dead Reckoning and coming up with a different title for the next one, which they should have done in the first place.
Where'd
But
you hear that?
I saw some of that like popping around in
Okay.
like, here's the thing. Social media and in terms of movie news is a shit show. And
Hmm.
like so many things come out, but like I wouldn't blame Paramount for shifting gears with the title. Wouldn't be the first time they changed the title of a Tom Cruise movie afterwards. Edge of Tomorrow.
What was that
Live the
before?
Well, it was Edge of Tomorrow, and then they upon release they kept pushing Live Die Repeat instead. Because like Edge of Tomorrow sounds really generic. That's like generic sci-fi movie title. Live Die Repeat makes you think, huh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like
Okay.
the I think it's a manga that is based off of his Everything is Kill.
Hmm.
So like that sounds aggressive and interesting, and they chose the least interesting title they could have for that movie. But like, you know, that I loved Dead Reckoning. I've loved almost every one of these Mission Impossible movies since Ghost Protocol. Like
Yes.
they have
Yes.
been I really, 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 really like three. And I think the first one was like a great start to this franchise.
The second
Two
one.
was something
Oh,
else.
because I saw because I did it. I went backwards. So I
Oh,
saw
interesting.
because like it's weird because when I was younger, I saw Ghost Protocol and then I didn't watch the other ones, and then I saw this one. I'm like, all right, let me. So then I went one, two,
And then you
three,
watch
four.
Fallout and you're just like, oh my God, this is
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. But two, I'm just like, oh my God, it was rough to sit and to watch that.
John Woo American version did not
Yeah,
translate very
yeah.
well,
No.
but good for Lorne Balfe because he's really taken the reins of composing these Mission Impossible movies,
Oh yeah.
and he makes some great scores.
Hmm.
So I 100% agree with you about the Dead Reckoning score.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one.
But I guess, did you have any more? Or,
Um, I'm trying to think. I have Ford versus Ferrari. That was a good
oh, that
score.
Marco Beltrami score for that's fantastic.
Yeah, that was a good one. I'm trying to think what else because I have Oppenheimer. I have
Yeah,
those
Ludwig
two.
Göransson's like that whole entire movie is just a soundscape.
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
certainly has that.
It was that was good. I'm trying to remember what other scores I have. I have obviously like Fast Seven, just that score I liked a lot. I think out of all of them, that was probably my favorite one. Um, just because of it was my favorite movie and I could like literally like entrench myself like in the scene when I'm listening to it in the car. That's
Mhm.
probably not the best thing to do though, but you know, it is what it is. And then I'm trying to remember, and then probably like the Notebook. I just like the kind of I think the
Mhm.
music kind of set the tone for that and everything. Um, but yeah, those are some just to name a few.
That is very
Oh,
fair.
and Spy Kids too. I like to listen to that all the time. I don't know why.
Nice.
It was like my favorite movie growing up as a kid. So like I just like I'll go on YouTube because I can't get it on my phone or like can't get it on
Mhm.
Apple Music. So I have to listen on YouTube. But yeah.
And my last question for you, Anthony, is what's one thing that you wish movies would stop doing?
Well, we kind of talked about it.
Hmm.
Um, what I would, I mean, other than the remake, which I think a lot of people can agree upon, so I'm not going to say that. I think, like, what I kind of want to see is like, I wish movies, and I think maybe more executives and studios give more chances on like more unknown actors,
Hmm.
and really be like, okay, who's going to be the next like A-list star? Like, who's going to be the next Leo? Who's going to be the next Brad Pitt? Because I'm like looking at it and I'm like, who is that?
Hmm.
We have, you have Tom
It's
Holland, you have
it's
Timothy
Timothy
Chalamet,
Chalamet and Tom Holland are literally in everything.
and then Zendaya
Yeah.
too. And I'm just like, okay, but it's like, who else do we have? Well, I guess Margot Robbie. But I'm just like, we kind of need it's thin. It's kind of thin, and I'm kind of worried.
It's one of those things, and like I use this as a specific example of this. So I love The Irishman from Martin Scorsese.
Hmm.
Did you really need to have an 80-year-old man playing a 20-year-old version of that character
Yeah.
when he's trying to stomp somebody and looks like an 80-year-old man barely able to stand up trying to stomp somebody? My biggest gripe with that movie is Martin Scorsese had an opportunity to elevate some young,
Hmm.
specifically young Italian American actors to play some of like play that role or like specifically like play a younger version of Robert De Niro or some of those characters, but like he just insisted upon de-aging everybody.
Yeah.
And those kinds of decisions do not open the door for new stars.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And like I get it. I get what he was trying to do. And does it work? For some of them, it does work really well. The thing with De Niro was a big stretch trying to de-age somebody 60 years.
Hmm.
But like stuff like that, it's a challenge because it's like, and it's so weird. And there's some of the opposite too. Like I just watched Ferrari. Why was Adam Driver playing a 60-year-old man?
Yeah, Enzo. Yeah, Enzo Fry. Yeah, I was gonna see that. I didn't see it. Is it worth it?
I thought it was fine. I once it gets to the race, it's ridiculously exciting. But it takes a while to get there. And I feel like there's a lot of problems with it, but like I definitely understand it's like they're like giving those kinds of opportunities because, you know, I feel like a lot of the young actors are kind of coming through television
Yeah,
at this point too.
yeah, they are.
Like, I was just watching the Golden Globes earlier, and Jeremy Allen White won his second Golden Globe for The Bear.
Hmm.
And like, he's a rising star. He was just in the Iron Claw, the new Von Erich
I've been seeing
movie.
that, like everyone's like
It's
before I see the Iron Claw, and I'm like, why is everyone crying?
because it's
Because
a
I don't.
devastating story, and I'm leaving it at that.
All right, okay.
I'm a
I,
huge pro wrestling fan, and like I like spent a lot of time watching like old wrestling and stuff like that, and like I know what happens with the Von Erich family. I knew that going in. I was warning people for months, being like, "This is going to be a sad movie," just to warn you. And it is. It was a gut punch, and I knew it was going to happen, and it still like hit ridiculously. But yeah, there needs to be more room for trying to make some of those bigger
mhm.
stars, and not just give literally every single role
Single
to
rule
Timothy Chalamet and
element.
Tom Holland.
Yeah. Yeah, and even yeah, and even to like, and like Timothy Chalamet, like they remade the Wonka. I'm like, oh my God, all right, we really need a third Wonka movie. And then like even Tom Holland, like he's kind of iffy about coming back to Spider-Man because I don't think he wants to do it anymore. And he's kind of like he doesn't like being an actor. Like I don't think like I think he likes it, but I think everything that comes with it, he
Mhm.
hates. So I
I
think that
know, and like they're planning on making a live action Legend of Zelda movie. And of course, the first things I hear, it's like, oh, Tom Holland should be Link. And I'm like,
wow.
find somebody.
Yeah, yeah, like so, yeah,
It's gonna turn out it's gonna be Zendaya as Zelda and Tom Holland as Link, and it's just gonna be like, oh, there's
yeah, it's
other
like
people here, please.
yeah, and it's like, and it's funny because you say a lot from television because from the Summer I Turned Pretty, one of the guys in the show, Conrad, oh, what's his name? I don't remember his name, like his actual name, but like he plays Conrad. He plays what is the hunk's name in the Mean Girls movie? Oh
Oh,
God.
Aaron Samuels.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that his name?
Oh, so he's in the new Mean Girls movie.
Yeah. He plays that role, which I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like I know him from this. He's now in this big kind of budget Mean
Well,
Girls
like
remake.
I love Sex Lives of College Girls, that Mindy Kaling created show on Netflix.
I've been okay. If you like it, I'm gonna watch that
I
now.
really liked it, and like the one of the four of them is Regina George
Oh,
in the
okay.
new Mean Girls, and then Timothy Chalamet's sister's one of the other ones. So I'm just like, I'm like, wait a minute.
And then the girl who plays Lindsay Lohan's character, she was in a movie that I watched
Well,
recently.
she was in the Spider-Man movies. She was
Oh
one
yeah,
of the
she
yeah.
was, oh yeah, she was the reporter, but she was in a
She was the
rom
nice guys
oh yeah, she was in
too.
a rom-com with Gaten Mazara or
Oh,
whatever. I forget what it was called.
I
But
don't
yeah.
know if I recall
So,
that one, but no, I remember she was the daughter in the Nice Guys with Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe.
uh
That's a movie that needs a sequel immediately, people. And also, the most common answer for that question I ask anybody is they want the Nice Guy sequel.
yeah.
But anyway, but Anthony, I like to wrap up my show by allowing my guest to ask me a question. So, what would you like to ask the Wasteland Reviewer?
Oh man, what would I ask the legendary Shane Kanto? Mm, hmm. Okay. So, mm, okay. I don't even remember what I asked you the last time, but I'll ask you this. So if you could, let's say, you were a big movie star, right?
Hmm.
A-list superstar, and you can go back and you could pick any movie that you would be in. What movie would you be in?
Any movie.
Any movie, any movie. Nothing is off the table.
I want to be in Fury Road. And do I have to pick a specific character?
Yeah.
Okay, Bill, that might.
Yeah, it's be
I guess
specific.
I'd
Yeah.
want to be Max. Like I want to be Max Rockatansky. Sorry, Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
I want to hang upside down on a giant
Uh,
pipe for 7 hours a day. Um, that would be amazing. Like just being a part of that insanity that was Mad Max Fury Road. That would be amazing. Um, yeah, that's definitely it. I would love to do that. Or if I could be in Lord of the Rings,
mm,
that would be cool too. I have
hmm.
to think about who I'd want to be. I would 100% want to be Gimli.
Okay.
Gimli is the best.
Yeah.
And I feel like I could grow out the hair.
I mean, you're already doing it now.
I would have to dye it a little bit though,
Yeah.
obviously.
Oh,
I
yeah, yeah.
don't have well, that's all fake hair because John Rhys Davies has the same kind of dark hair that I do. And he's also 6'2". So
Okay, there you go. Perfect.
he was actually the tallest cast member of the Fellowship, and he played a dwarf.
That's insane.
Forced perspective.
Wow.
But those would be the two ones. Like I being able to play Max and just get to be like this basically unhinged grunting like animal guy would be a lot of fun.
Hmm.
And get to have some really cool fight scenes and do all kinds of crazy stunts.
Yeah.
It'd be the thrill of a lifetime that I don't get because I'm a hobbit and I don't leave my hobbit hole. But that was a fun question, Anthony. But Anthony, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure talking to you. And really, you kind of like now think about it, I was like, damn, all right, now I gotta get back into like my movie groove again. And now like I'm
I had
like,
that way with people.
yeah, I know you do. So I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, Tuesday's like half price movies. I'm like, I might go see the Iron Claw. I might go see it. How long?
Bring some tissues.
I know. How long is it?
I think it's like 2 hours, 10 minutes.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, there's a couple of dramas around that amount of time. And then you have like the hulking ones like Killers of the Flower Moon. That was a 3.5 hour movie. Uh, so
That was, did you like what? I didn't see it because I'm like, I saw the time. I'm
I
like,
loved it. And there's only like a very brief, like 10-minute part of the movie. There's a transitional part of the movie in the late second act that I felt like maybe it was dying down a bit of energy, but like I was hooked. I was there the whole 3.5 hours.
mhm.
And trust me, I've watched 90-minute movies in a theater and been like,
Yeah, how
when
much?
is this over?
Yeah, it's like this one
And
you didn't want 10.
yeah, if a 90-minute movie feels longer than a 3.5 hour movie, you've done something
Something,
bad.
right. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so Anthony, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
And thank all of you out there for always tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.